Fighting Illini have two players that are aiming to go in the first round of the NBA draft. Where do the current mocks have them slated to go? We'll talk a little bit about that, as Illinois basketball will be represented in the first round of the NBA draft. We're also going to look at the contract extensions of both the football and the basketball coach and what that means for the future of Illini basketball and football. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode, or the first episode of Fighting Illini Central. My name is Hayes. If you guys don't know me from either Chicago Bulls Central or Chicago Bears Central, I host a lot of Chicago sports podcasts, and now starting a new venture that I've been wanting to start for a while with Fighting Illini. And let me know how you guys feel about this. As far as we're going to grow, we're going to try to adapt the podcast as we go on. But with that said, this is the first episode, and I want to start off talking about two players that are coming from Illinois basketball that are looking to get drafted, right? When you look at it, we're going to do a roundup of both these players. That's Riley and Kasparas Jakučionis. And so let's start off with Kasparas, right? This is a player that it's really a wide range of right now where he's projected to go in the draft. A lot of people think that he could go as high as like number 10 in the top 10. Some people think he could fall, maybe even outside the lottery in some cases. Don't know what's going to be the best for him in a case like that. But when you look at it right now, just to round up everything, Yahoo Sports has him going 17th to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I actually like this a lot, right? They need a player that can absolutely set up. And I think that's the biggest thing there, right? That team is looking for that, but they also need kind of defense. But they are going to be looking for a point guard, I feel, this offseason, whether that comes in the draft or that comes via free agency or even a trade. Now, if a player like Jakučionis does fall to them at number 17, I think they got to take a hard look at him. 15 points per game last year, as we all know, almost 6 rebounds, 4.7 rebounds. And the thing with Jakučionis is that his scoring was really inconsistent. In some of the bigger games, he kind of disappointed, of course. We all know that. But this is a kid that's going to have to adapt his game to the NBA level. That's just not going to be something that, surprises anybody, that he's going to take a while to maybe adapt. The thing that's kind of more concerning about him for sure is that in the postseason, he played okay, right? It wasn't great, but he played okay. Even when you look at the Big Ten tournament in the second round of the quarterfinals, like, it wasn't his best showing when it came down to it. Only one game shooting 40% or above in all those 4 games, 4 of the most important games in with Illinois basketball last year. Kasparas just didn't play necessarily the best in it, right? But this still is a kid with tremendous upside going into the NBA as a freshman, 6'6", 200 pounds. So Yahoo Sports has him going 17th to the Minnesota Timberwolves, which I think that brings a lot of what they need. It could also allow them to focus some of their money in different positions. Bleacher Report and ESPN, which I think are written by the same person, has them going at number 10 to the Houston Rockets. Now, that's also an interesting place for him to go, mainly because the Rockets also need some point guard depth. Fred VanVleet, they're trying to make a decision on if they're going to guarantee his contract or not. They could opt out of it and try to re-sign him at a lower number. But I think either way, they're going to be looking for a point guard of the future. And a player like Jakučionis could fit in really well with what they're doing as far as setting up everybody else as they're learning to develop and create their own shot, like Thompson and other players. So maybe that could make some sense there. Number 9 to the Toronto Raptors. That's where the Ringer has them going. I like that pickup for the Toronto Raptors as well. I think that makes a lot of sense for that team. They're just a young team trying to find something to stick to the wall when it comes down to that. But I think all the young talent that they have down there, getting out in transition, that's where Jakučionis could really kind of thrive at. And then No Ceilings has them going at number 11 to the Portland Trailblazers, which is interesting with Scoot Henderson still being on that team and what that could mean for them. But either way, it seems like, most people are expecting him to go even in the lottery, even though, Yahoo Sports with their most recent one have him going a little bit lower than that. One of my favorite and preferred mock drafts as well is NBAdraft.net. They update it a few times a week. The most recent one was updated just yesterday as of this recording. And so, that's the one I kind of look at to kind of get a feel on how things are going and how teams and other things may be feeling about players. And so, they have him going right now 16th to the Orlando Magic, which could make some sense for that team too, even though they need a little bit of offense. But let's move on from that to Will Riley. Now, this is one of my favorite players in this draft, especially I think he's going to provide really good value lower in this draft for sure if he does fall and the team gets him. Will Riley is a fighter, man. I love this kid. We knew that Illinois was led by 2 freshmen coming into the season. I think this guy has a lot of upside, Yahoo Sports has him going at number 24 to the OKC Thunder, which would be crazy if he goes to the Thunder and he gets to start off his career with the team like that that's just stockpiling young talent. Is he going to fall in there? That's the question when it comes down to him and his style and all the perimeter players that they have there. I don't know if they look to go guard with them already being guard heavy, but that's where Yahoo Sports has him going. No ceilings, has him going number 26 to the Brooklyn Nets. Makes some sense there, right? I think especially, he can make some sense filling out the backcourt and doing some things there that can make some sense. Playing that forward position for them, they do need a wing there as well, so that can make some sense for them. Miami Heat at number 20. Heat's looking for all the talent they can get in the world right now. You look at Will Riley and his legit 6'8", 180-pound frame. Makes a lot of sense for a lot of different teams, man. And the thing about him is that he's a threat to pull off. He moves off the ball really well. He has a really good feel for the game. At 19 years old, with 6'8", with a 6'8" wingspan, it can help a lot of teams out there. And then ESPN and Bleach Report have him going at number 22 to the Atlanta Hawks. So we'll see what happens there. But let me know. Do you feel like this is appropriate? Is this fair for the forward and guard coming out of Illinois, the freshman duo? Looks like they're both going to be drafted in the first round unless something crazy happens. So Illinois basketball will be well represented there. All right, let's move on to the next one, next topic today. And I want to talk a little bit about the contract extensions. Now, we're about a little under a month since the basketball and football head coaches got extended, right? You look at Brett with the Illinois football. He got $7.7 million salary. He got an extension on the deal that he already had, 6-year contract with that's going to run through the 2030 season. You look at what he's done with Illini football, right? 10-win season in school history in 2024, right? That they went all the way to the Citrus Bowl there. They got a win there over South Carolina, which is really good. They're returning 18 out of 22 starters for that team there. A lot of time people are putting them in the top 15, top 10 now. Their schedule is what people are kind of questioning about them a little bit when it comes down to it. But it's really good to have him locked in there. I think that's going to be good for this team overall. But when you look at, like, for example, while it's good to have him there, no compete clause, he's going to get bonuses as well due to wins and things like that. I think they're really taking care of him, which is really good. And I think Brett is going to be somebody that's really instilling that culture here with Illinois football, and that's what it comes down to, right? But then you look at some of the questions and doubts around him, right? The Big Ten Huddle talked about them, and they provide daily coverage in the Big Ten, and they talked a little bit about how good this team could be, right? Saying that they're good, but not championship contenders. And that mainly is looked at because they have a fairly easy schedule in conference play. They have one notable opponent in their non-conference matchups as well. And, they seem like they're set up to have only a couple of losses next season, but it's some question on just how that their schedule is going to stack up against other teams in the Big Ten. Are they going to be able to make the college football playoffs, which is another thing there? I mean, they're not completely out of the wayside there at all, but I think with Illini football next year, they're going to have to really, really look good. And them returning 18 out of 22 starters, they still have some questions at the tight end position as well, but I think they're going to be fine there. But I think overall, let them surprise it. Let them surprise when it comes down to it. Fighting Illini are called the Fighting Illini for a reason, right? So if they pull off like an 8-1 record in Big Ten play, go 10-2, 11-1 over the regular season, they'll make the college football playoffs. I think it's pretty safe to say that they will make that playoffs. And there's some questions around them there and how Illini football is going to look next season. But overall, I mean, let's not worry about it too much right now. It kind of is what it is when it comes down to it. Now, on the flip side of that, right, with Brett's contract, it locks him into 2030. And it means that he doesn't really want to go anywhere. He's already had a no-compete clause, that he doesn't want to go anywhere football, the athletic director doesn't want him to go anywhere. And so he's really locked into that. I think that's going to be something that is good there. He's well paid, and now he gets to continue building out his program. And, Illinois was one of 5 schools with 3 or more players drafted in the first rounds in both the 2023 and 2024 drafts. They were there with Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, and Penn State. We know how all those organizations are talked about. Let's get the Illini there ourselves, right? So shout out to Brett being able to get his contract extension. Illini football is going to be well represented, and we'll see how that shakes out this season for them. But let's get back to the basketball side of things. Brad Underwood, this extension adds 3 more years to the deal. That's going to run him through the 2030-2031 season. It gives him an annual salary at $4.4 million. He's annual for an annual retention incentive on July 1st of each year. After that, starting with $1.15 million in July and increasing after that point. So this is a guy that he's also getting a long-time signing bonus, things like that. He's locked in here, and he's going to be here with Illinois basketball for a long time. I think that's important for a program, especially as you're looking at your recruiting classes and things like that. When you have coaches that are locked into long-term contracts, and he also has that no-compete clause. He can't go to any other big school, especially in the Big Ten. So that's really important for him. You look at Illinois before he took over. They had missed 4 straight NCAA tournaments, and 7 of the last 10 prior to that. He led Illinois to that. He's in the top tier of the Big 12. On top of that, they made 5 straight NCAA tournaments. They've won 81 Big 10 games during the last 6 years, and they're tied for most in the conference, right along with Purdue. So what's happening here is that they're just locking everything in. They're locking themselves in to have a team to have a coach that's going to continue leading this team to where it needs to go. And I think that's a really good thing. See what their recruiting cast looks like. On top of that, I know we talked about players that are leaving and going into the NBA and things like that, but I think overall, Illinois basketball is in a really good spot, and I love where they are. They're looking to lock in some recruiting class in 2026, which is going to be good there overall. But I think when it comes down to it, Illinois is on a good path, both in football and in basketball. We have players that are going into the NBA. We have players that, in the transfer portal is again, we get players out the transfer portal. And I think overall, right now, Illinois basketball, you wanted to lock both these coaches up. And I think that's just the thing when it comes down to. You lock these guys up and you get it done. So right now, Illinois football, Illinois basketball, they made their moves. And we'll see what happens overall from that, and then really exciting seasons. But wanted to get this first episode out the way. I had some topics that I wanted to get off my chest. A little nervous. I'm always nervous when I've been podcasting for 10 years. I have one of the biggest Chicago Bulls podcasts around, but every time I start a new show, I get a little nervous. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. Again, this is quick. When you look at this, we're going to be doing this during the season, probably once or twice a week. During the offseason, when there's news, it's going to be little shorter episodes over the offseason. But overall, let us know how you feel. Let us know what you think. We'll continue to break everything down. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow me at CEO Hayes. We don't have any social media for the show yet, but we'll be here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.